Hey guys, Vass here from Aussie Playground and welcome to the final episode of Project USUS. Yes, this is the grand finale. This is going to be the last episode of this project. However, I'm going to make one more video which is going to be like a feedback video slash review slash final thoughts of the whole thing. For those of you who may be interested, you can then watch that at a later stage. I'll have that done soon. But today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be giving you the final update on Project USUS, which is the Rustler back here. I'm also going to introduce you to this project over here, and I'm going to talk to you about the two roller trucks that you see behind me just over there. And I'm going to give you a running video of this truck and this truck. And we're going to see the final moments of the auction for both the Rustler and the Stampede that you see here. And then we'll know exactly how much these trucks have actually sold for, which I think will be very exciting. So, moving on to Project USUS. Now, since the last video, there's been a couple of changes. Now, I was actually using a brushless motor combo, so motor and ESC, that I bought off eBay for $55. It was branded Speed Passion, and it's actually, you know, it wasn't bad. It had good speed for the price. I mean, you can't expect it to be super fast for that sort of money, but it had good speed. However, it did run a little bit warm. It ran at about 185 degrees Fahrenheit, which I thought was a little bit towards the red zone, and I wasn't too happy with it. So I took it out of the truck. Now, there is really two reasons that I can think of as to why. Well, there's three really, but the two main reasons were this. One, I could have had my settings wrong. Two, I could have the gearing on this truck could be wrong for that motor system. Or three, it was just not the right motor system for this type of vehicle. Now, I didn't run it off-road, I only ran it on-road, and it ran at 185. So I figured, you know, for the new owner, if they're going to run it off-road or do anything extreme with it, they may run into a little bit of trouble, and it may just look bad on me. So I didn't want to do that, and I took it out. Chances are you're going to see that motor system somewhere else down the line in another project or another car that I'll have. So we'll leave it for now. And I was lucky enough to have somebody comment on one of the previous videos saying that they were using a Hobby King ESC that they bought for about $40. It's 120 amp and is capable of 2S and 3S and will work perfectly with the Valenion motor. So I went onto the Hobby King website and I bought that ESC, which I believe is this guy here. Hopefully the camera will focus in for us. There we go. Now it is also capable of running a censored motor. It has a little censored port back there. Comes with the built-in fan. And my understanding is that it is actually a clone from a equivalent Hobby Wing ESC. What I actually did is I went onto the Hobby Wing website, I updated the firmware, and I've actually got a Hobby Wing program card, and I was able to program this ESC with the card and the firmware and everything. I will say though, either I was doing something wrong or the ESC was just upset with my laptop and it didn't want to talk to it, because I did have a few issues sort of trying to get everything to work initially, but once I plugged it all in and it was going, I managed to program it the way that I want. So it does work. The cables to the motor I've had to replace because the original cables were very badly battered, and you know, they were quite used and abused, so I had to change out the cables, but everything else works perfectly fine. Now if you're paying attention, you'll also notice that I changed out the shocks. The original shocks that came with this purchase are not these ones. These are brand new shocks that I got from Dollar Hobbies. I was buying a few things from there, so I decided to add it to the cart. Didn't really cost me anything extra in postage, and I was able to get them and put them on here. The reason for that is because I've got the original shocks in that roller back there. So that is pretty much it for Project USUS. We are done with all the changes and all the upgrades and everything. It's now running the Valenion motor, which I got with the original deal. Even though it was very sort of scarred, it had a couple of dents on it and a few scratches, it works perfectly fine. This motor is actually very, very strong, and the ESC paired up with it, thumbs up, it works very well. Car has plenty of torque and lots of speed on 2S. I did not dare run it on 3S because, as I said, I'm selling this and the last thing I want to do is flip it and smack it into a curb somewhere or do something stupid, and you know, it was just going to give me trouble. So I ran it on 2S, kept it nice and safe, and it runs very well. For those of you who are wondering, I did go silver with the body. I did have it sort of all painted up at the end of the last video when we saw the truck running, but I still got a couple of people asking me or recommending what color to go for, but I ended up going with silver. Are you going to go into your holes here? There you go. All right. So Project USUS is finished. That's done. Now we move on to the roller that you see here. This is the body that came with the original Rustler. I did have to get a few extra parts to make this a roller because originally it was just a bunch of parts. It wasn't really anything. I had the spare chassis. I had the gearbox, but the diff was missing the spider gears inside, so I had to get them. I had no drive shafts. I had no links. I had no A-arms. I had no screws, no hardware to put any of this together, so I had to get all new screws. And I got a new steering bell crank, links, caster blocks, steering blocks, hex adapters, drive shafts, camber links. I'm not sure if I've said that already or not. Rear motor guard as well, or whatever it is. And that is pretty much it for all the new parts. Everything else was parts that I sort of salvaged from all the spares that I got with the whole deal. It's still missing a receiver box, but I know that some people don't even use those, depending on what they do. And that's pretty much it. I mean, the truck just needs a few things and it's ready to roll. So this has already been sold. I actually had somebody contact me via Facebook who follows the channel and has been a long time supporter of it. They got in contact with me and said, hey, you know, if you're wanting to get rid of all those spares or whatever. I said, well, I was going to make a roller out of it and then sell that off. He goes, well, I'll take it because he doesn't have anything Traxxas. I think he's got a 2 Thunder Tiger MT4s. So he wants to do something with this. And believe it or not, I still ended up getting a few spares, a few of the older parts. In case he has an accident or something, he's got a couple of spares in here. There's a few screws, a few nuts and bolts as well. So that'll come in handy for him as well. I'll disclose the price of all that in the next episode, but that is already sold. And as I said, we're going to find out the price of this guy very, very soon. So now we turn our attention to the Stampede. Now this guy here, this is my old Stampede that I bought back in 2012. And when I bought it, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with it, but then I decided to make it or turn it into a gravedigger. And that is what you see back there. But that is not my old Stampede. That is a scratch build gravedigger. I bought every part for that truck separately. Most people buy a gravedigger and then upgrade it, or they buy a Stampede and then upgrade it. I just bought all the upgraded parts and put it all together. So that's what that is back there. But as I was doing it, I was taking parts and screws and bits and pieces out of this truck, and I ended up having it in bits, and it was in bits in a box for the longest time. So the name that we've chosen for it is actually quite suiting, I think. On my Facebook page, I listed about, I think it was about 5 or 6 names that I wanted to use for this truck, what I wanted to name it. And the guys that are on there, guys and girls who are on there, voted on the name that they chose, that they liked, and the most popular one was Project Renatus. Now Renatus stands for reborn, which I think is a very fitting name considering the truck was, you know, dead, it was in bits, and then I've basically put it back together. Now there are a couple of nice little upgrades on here which I'll go through. Some of it was left over from my gravedigger build, some of it was stuff that I got when I bought the whole Rustler and roller that you see back there as well. And obviously you've got a new body on here to add a bit of extra flavor to it all. So I'll bring this guy up close and give you guys a bit of a spin around. Note the matte finish on the bumpers, wheel arches, the vents up the top, the bonnet up here as well. There is a little bit of a fade on those tears, if you guys can make that out. It's a little bit of a red fade kind of down here. It's not the best, but I did give it a go. And that's what it looks like from the top. I know there's a lot of lights here, it's very reflective, but there is matte finish on here and a matte finish on here as well. So that's what it looks like. That's the other side there. So that is pretty much it. Now, green springs, green shock caps, and this green motor guard is all leftovers from my gravedigger build. These are parts that I sort of had spare. The shocks, I originally wanted to use these shocks in that truck, but then I changed. I bought different shocks for it, so I had these. It's got a new transmission. It's got new, it's got new hub carriers, new caster blocks, new steering knuckles, new servo saver, new front body post, new shock tower, front shock tower, and new bumper as well. The wheels are out of my Stampede 4x4. The electronics are obviously from the original Stampede, and there is metal outdrive yokes. You probably can't see them very well. I'll see if I can show it on the other side. You can't really see it, but there's metal or hardened steel outdrive yokes on the back there as well. Now these actually came in the Stampede roller that I got with the whole initial purchase. And of course, we've got a brand new Pro Line Ford F-150 Raptor body. I do have another one of these coming, another body like this, and I also have a Chevy body, because I've had some people say, oh, you know, why didn't you do a Chevy? So now I'm going to do a Chevy, and I'll put that between the Helix and the Stampede back there. I'll use one of them on each truck. So that is this guy, which is currently on eBay as well. And we've got the remote here. I am selling it with a couple of extra nickel metal hydride battery packs, and also a charger, which was a cheap charger that I bought off eBay quite a few months back, and I don't really use it anymore, so I figured I'll throw that in. And this one's actually doing quite well. Now everything that I had left over, and the roller that came with the original purchase, this is the body that I had from my Stampede, and this is the truck that I ended up, this has also been sold as well through Facebook. So it does pay to be on Facebook. You'll get little things like this. If you're not on Facebook, check the video description, there's a link in there. We've got a receiver box, rear shock tower, hub carriers, drive shafts, steering knuckles, the camber links are from my old Stampede, caster blocks, and the little stubby antennas also. These are all brand new parts. Everything else is pretty much used. So this is all stuff that I got from the roller. These are the original wheels and tires that I got with my Stampede when I bought it, and that's pretty much it. So this has also been sold, which is great. The new owner is going to get a spare rear body post. There's also a little bag of spare parts, some nuts and bolts, a few bits and pieces that I think will come in handy, you know, in case you have a nasty accident. And there's even a couple of spare tires. Don't know what he's going to do with those, but hey, you know, I have no need for them, so you might as well have them. So this is pretty much it for the entire project, Project USUS and Project Renatus, where we are pretty much done. So now I'm just going to show you a quick running video of this guy with the Valenian motor and the Hobby King / Hobby Wing ESC. We're going to see a quick running video of this truck, and then we're going to finish off with the final moments or final seconds of both Project Renatus and Project USUS and Project Renatus in auction. So we'll see what they actually go for. So enjoy the running videos. Alright, so here we are for the final moments of the auction for the Stampede, or rather Project Renatus. So I'm going to very quickly show you, because we've only got a few minutes left, that this is where we're up to as far as pricing goes. That is where we're up to at the moment. Now this auction did start at $1 and it's gone up over the last 7 days. I'll show you, just while we've got a little bit of time, I'll show you the some of the pictures that I took of the truck. So these are the batteries that I'm including with the sale. That there is the charger, it's the underside, the metal out drives, a little bit of a close-up on the paint job, and there's the full package there. So let's see, we'll come back probably in a few moments. There's only a little bit of time left. We'll come back in a few moments and we'll see where this finishes up. Okay, so here we are in the last few moments. There's only a few seconds left. Generally these auctions tend to escalate in the last dying moments, but it doesn't look like there's much going on with this one. It hasn't moved in a few days, so we'll see now. 5 seconds, 3 seconds, and it looks like that's where it's finished. 282.77. That is what the Project Renatus has sold for. So now we'll move on to Project USUS. Alright, so now it's the Rustler's turn. So here you can see where we're up to. There's actually, I've decided to show you this screen as well because there's 28 people watching this auction right now, which is pretty crazy. That is the auction there. We're sitting on a very nice $307.50. That is Australian money, of course. I will do the same thing I did with the Stampede and just take you through some of the beautiful photographs that I took of this truck. And you know, just giving you guys a bit of a shot of the ad for those of you who haven't seen it. These are the photos that I took, and that's just the remote there. So there's our ESC and blah blah blah. So we can flick this back to, yeah, that shot there. Oh, we'll do this one. Kind of looks like that, but without the remote. Okay, so this auction also started at a $1 starting bid, and you know, it's climbed up quite nicely, as has the people watching. But I'm willing to bet that out of those 28, there's probably not going to be you know, 28 people bidding for this. I would say that there's probably only a couple of people that are bidding on this RC. The rest have probably picked up on the auction from my Facebook page. I only ever advertised this when I first put the trucks up for auction. I have not reminded anybody. I haven't mentioned it since. So the 28 people that are watching this have come on board either through the Facebook page or legitimately through browsing eBay. So we'll come back in a couple of minutes and just see where this one finishes up. Okay, here we go in the dying seconds. I always get a little bit excited at these auctions. I've sold dozens of items on eBay, and the dying seconds always get me a little nervous for some reason. I don't know why. Kind of hoping there's a couple of bids placed right at the end, but it's not looking promising. 10 seconds to go. Is this the final price? Come on, baby. No? No more? We're done. Oh. Still a very good price, I have to say. Can't really complain about the $307.50. I think that's a fair price, and there we go. There's a little sold little message, and there we are. The Rustler, or Project USUS, is now out of my hands. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to stay ahead just a little bit, much like a lot of the people that are probably watching this auction, please be sure to check out the video description. I will have a link in there to my Facebook page. Don't forget to rate, comment and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll be speaking to you guys again soon.